So as long as we're adding in those appropriate things, right? That's the important part, is we're adding in those correct, good, healthy things. Okay. This is where a lot of people make the mistake is we focus on what to take out of our diets. And then we touched on this yesterday. What do we take out of our diets? You know, do we need to take carbs out? And I always get a long list of things from people. And, you know, for example, anytime someone new jumps into the program, there's a little bit of a transition period where someone's trying to figure out, wait, hold on. I have been trained my entire life that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. I can't touch these foods. But now you're telling me that I can have them? Okay, my brain just doesn't understand that. And so I've got a few different people who have, you know, they'll email me on a regular basis, and it's always like a list of, hey, what about this food? Is this food good? What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? Right? And they're trying to build that list of good foods. When here's the truth, everything is fine. Here's what matters. Actually, I'm gonna steal something from a friend of mine. In terms of this idea, he believes the same thing I do. And he was talking to, he posted something on social media, a text between him and a friend or a client of his, I guess. And they were saying something about, I don't even know what the conversation was before, but he just said, well, you could have added a donut or some Oreos. And she goes, ooh, I love Oreos. But she's like, hold on, wait. But Oreos are bad for you. He goes, why? Right. And this is, I would ask the same thing. Why are Oreos bad for you? And she came back with, you know, what would you think? Well, it's because of sugar and the lard that's in there. And he goes, okay, so you're telling me that sugar and lard is bad. Now, what I would also interject in there, he didn't add this part, but I would have thrown in there, okay, if sugar is bad, why are we eating broccoli? You know, you might go, well, but there's no sugar in broccoli. Wrong. There is, okay? Broccoli breaks down, and as we break it breaks down into glucose, which is sugar, okay? Just like table sugar does. Table sugar and broccoli end up the exact same thing within our body. Okay. Does that make sense? It's the exact same thing. Carrots, table sugar end up as the exact same thing. At least one of the ingredients ends up as the exact same thing inside your body. Okay. There's no difference. But here's the important part. And he went on. He's like, here's what makes Oreos bad. It has to do with this. And he actually sent her one letter at a time. That's it. Quantity. It's the quantity that becomes the issue. Okay, sugar is not bad for us. The quantity of sugar we consume is what makes it bad. And that's with anything that we eat. We talked about water. Water is good for you, right? Until you drink too much. If you drink too much, it can become deadly for you. Give you guys a specific example of this. Years ago, there was a radio station did this. I've heard that the offer was a little bit different, but it was this competition where people could win something if they were to hold their hand on something. So I heard it was an RV. Someone else said it, or some other time I heard that it was like an Xbox or some sort of entertainment system, whatever it is. But they had to hold their hand onto something, and they had to drink water. Okay, and then the last person with their hand on that thing won. And so here's everyone drinking water, and eventually they're like, oh, I've got to use the restroom so bad, they take off running and they lose, right? Well, the person that won ended up dying about 2 hours later of hyponatremia. Okay, hyponatremia just basically means diluted blood for the most part. Okay, low blood sodium levels is kind of the direct translation of that word, because they diluted their blood, their body in general, with water. Okay. Water can be bad if the quantity is too much, just like sugar. Sugar can be bad if the quantity is too much, right? Sugar in general is not a bad thing, because I don't hear people run around saying, well, I guess I do hear people saying that fruit's bad for you, but a lot of people do run around. Most people run around and say fruit is good for you, right? Okay. But what tends to happen is I guess it doesn't tend to happen. The thing is with fruit, okay, is it's sugar, just like anything else. And so that's why people say that it's a bad thing, but the amount of sugar in it's so small, it doesn't matter. Okay. So the quantity of what you eat is the issue, not the type of food. And, you know, again, we'll have people say that processed food is bad for you. Yes, if we consume too much. But again, we go on this whole pendulum, or I guess I won't say pendulum, but there's like this scale right here. Okay. There's a scale where things are optimal, where, you know, if we're going with processed food, over here is really bad. Okay. Over here is really good. And does it require us to eat nothing? You know, no processed food whatsoever, because I don't know anyone that does that necessarily, unless they are someone who cooks their own food. They do not eat out in any way whatsoever, because if you eat out, you are going to get processed foods. If you're eating any sauces, those are processed foods. If you're adding spices to your foods, technically they're processed foods. There's a lot of things like that, right? So, but there's an optimal place that we can be, but we don't know what that is for an individual. So let's shoot for over here on the good, which is mostly full, or is whole foods, right? And then there's processed foods over here, which would put in the bad, processed. There we go. We could be somewhere, as long as we're, oh, my thing froze on me. Hold on. As long as we're over here somewhere, we're doing really good. So that doesn't mean zero processed foods. It just means a lower quantity of it. It doesn't mean zero sugar. So when I see people go on these things and say, I'm sugar-free, I don't eat any sugar whatsoever, I always kind of laugh about it when I hear what they do. There's a friend of my daughter's, we went to her family's house. Her parents asked all of us to come over and do like a little family get together thing. It was really cool. But they said in their house, they go, oh, we're sugar-free. We don't eat anything with sugar in it. I was like, oh, cool. That's really interesting. And then they brought out cookies and I went, okay. Now, and I took a bite of it and it tasted like a normal cookie. And I was like, okay. I didn't taste any of that aftertaste from like your artificial sweeteners or anything. And I asked them, I'm like, oh, so how did you sweeten this? And they go, oh, with honey. I went, okay. I thought you were sugar-free. Oh, we are sugar-free. But honey has sugar in it. That's why it's sweet. Oh, we get sugar other ways. We just don't use table sugar. And to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because there's really not a lot of difference. Okay, yes, there's some other health benefits from honey versus table sugar. Okay, but that's the important thing. Again, we need to focus on what to add to our diet, because again, I mentioned broccoli breaks down into glucose in the end. So does table sugar. But what are you getting from broccoli that you're not getting from table sugar? Well, you're getting fiber. You're getting vitamins, you're getting minerals, you're getting all these good things. So we need to make sure we add those things in, right? Is honey better than table sugar? In terms of the nutrients you're getting, definitely. In terms of sugar, no, it's the same, okay? You're going to get the same amount of sugar from honey than you will from table sugar. The difference is you're going to get some other health benefits from that honey, okay? And we could go with every food out there and go through the same process, okay? So that's the important part. Don't focus on what you need to take out of your diet. Focus on what to add into your diet, which then will displace some of those things that we shouldn't be eating or shouldn't be having as much. And then just focus on the quantity of the food you're eating. Okay. So again, if you want Oreos, if you had one Oreo a day, that's not going to keep you from reaching your goal. Now, one sleeve of Oreos or one bag of Oreos, that will keep you from reaching your goal. But just one Oreo, not a problem. One small scoop of ice cream, not a problem. One huge bowl, massive bowl overflowing, probably a problem, right? Because the quantity, not because of the actual food itself.